Good morning. Today is a day off for me, and so I said, hey, let's go check out Jamestown. And Cindy said, okay. She didn't know what Jamestown was, but we've seen the show.
Right.
So we do know what Jamestown is, and I'm kind of a, you don't know what
It's a historical something.
It is a historical something.
The very first, like, settlers, like before the Pilgrims came here.
Yes, that is absolutely
Jamestown.
correct. We're not going to do a history lesson here, but we are going to go show you around, hopefully the Welcome Center, and then historic Jamestown itself. You can hear Jimmy whining in the background because I told him I think they'll let us take dogs in strollers inside the Welcome Center. We're going to go find out. Shh. All right, you're pushing the stroller. The museum does not allow dogs, even in strollers, only service animals, but all I saw in there was some exhibits and a theater and restrooms and a place to get lunch. So that's not why we came here. We came here to actually look at the historic sites.
Back.
So we went from the visitor center to the, what would you call this place? To historic Jamestown, which is where we wanted to be anyway. So I'm not even mad. I did read online, dogs are allowed here. They just can't go into the buildings, but you can walk around and look at the things. So we're gonna walk around and look at all the things, assuming I'm correct. Cindy thinks that seeing this tree was worth the drive. So we're gonna get a picture of all of us with it in the background here eventually. I just did a whole dialogue without recording.
He said some profound
I did.
things.
I can't
too.
remember them now.
I can't remember what they were though.
One shot and it's gone. But we did make it into the visitor center with no problem.
They didn't kick us out or nothing.
Right? So we're happy about that. We paid our fee. We saved 50% by having a National Parks Pass, which I got for free by being a
and I
veteran.
got stamps in my passport.
Stamps.
I even got the Junior Ranger stamp. Just, why not?
Right. Military service was worth it just to get in here for half price. That's what I'm going with. But we are currently crossing the swamp. I'm headed to look at all the things Jamestown. So Cindy wants to watch the show again, she thinks.
It was pretty intense, and I had COVID when I watched it, so it might give me bad flashbacks. But it was a good show. But it was intense. But it was good.
It was good.
But it was intense.
So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm excited. Let's get started.
I'm excited. Let's get started.
This is the swamp.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Where the settlers had hot dogs from, evidently, because they look like hot dogs
They
on a
grow
stick.
hot dogs on sticks?
That's fun.
Swamp dogs?
Go ahead and take a bite of one.
Oh!
Ew.
So, supposed to look much like it did when they were here several hundred years ago. What's up with that squirrel? All right, guys. What is that sound and why is he all tail up like that? Oh, there he goes. All right, this is the Tercentennial Monument.
What?
Tercentennial.
What does that mean?
We're gonna go read a sign and find out. This is where our tours start. It's very tall. Virginia Company of London, chartered April 1606, founded Jamestown and sustained Virginia, 1607 to 1624. Lastly and chiefly, the way to prosper and achieve good success is to make yourselves all of one mind for the good of your country and your own, and to serve and fear God, the giver of all goodness. For every plantation which our Heavenly Father hath not planted shall be rooted out. The Jamestown settlement in the colony of Virginia was the first permanent English settlement in the Americas. It was located on the northeast bank of the James River, about 2.5 miles southwest of the center of modern Williamsburg. The James River was named after King James, and Jamestown was established as James Fort in 1607. Two-thirds of the settlers died before ships with supplies, craftsmen, and more settlers arrived in 1608. More than 80% of the colonists died in 1609 to 1610, a period known as starving time, mostly from starvation and disease. Jamestown served as the capital of Virginia until 1699. While we were there, excavation work was being done on a recently discovered well. Wells were used as trash receptacles once the water had gone bad. Because of the environment of these wells, items thrown into them are generally well preserved. Archaeologists believe this well was constructed around 1617. This well did not yield many animal bones typically found in others, but it did contain sword and dagger fragments along with tools, trade beans, and pottery pieces. The well will be filled in after excavation to preserve it and minimize environmental damage.
I feel like we're on the wrong side of the road.
Let's go this way.
Were you really going to go that way?
Well, I thought for whatever reason that's the way it went, but then I saw the sign that said this way. Because I knew it was a one-way drive. I just didn't know which way.
So swampy.
Let's develop a colony here.
Oh my gosh. Is it safe? It doesn't look safe. It doesn't even feel safe. They presumed that the land was unoccupied, one of the prerequisites for the location of their settlement, not realizing the land was still in use. They built up a convenient number of small cabins wherein they lived during that season. They have no idea how to use capital letters. They just throw them in randomly.
And they throw in other letters randomly,
Yeah, like
cabins
with two B's.
Otherwise it's cabin, maybe.
He jumps and it scares me. He sees something down there and he jumps and his whole back end just lurches. It scares me.
I do wonder if he saw a squirrel if he wouldn't try to be out the window.
Oh no, I've got a pretty darn good. He's going to be dangling by a leg if he does. Because I have my arm wrapped around him and then I'm holding on to his back leg. So I don't expect I'll let go of him.
Doesn't seem like something you would do.
I may sever him in 2 pieces, but I ain't letting go. That's it.
An ancient planter. Captain John Smith called William Spence an honest, valiant, and industrious man. Others referred to him as a gentleman, laborer, and ensign. A Jamestown resident since 1608, Spence served as a member of the newly formed House of Burgesses, Virginia's first legislative assembly, to such as to Virginia do purpose to repair, and when that they shall thither come, each man shall have his share. Richard Rich. Richie Rich.
What's up? What is... Oh, they're just yellow leaves. I thought they looked like some sort of a fruit or vegetable hanging there. Never mind.
Can I have some dessert?
Well, it wasn't cheesecake. Jimmy would like to drive around here all day, every day.
that's it for Jamestown. I found it very educational.
Oh, that was pretty cool. I
Pretty
really,
cool.
really enjoyed it. My son was
Highly recommended. $30 a piece. Get your National Parks Pass, and it's $15 a piece. And we spent several hours here, and that included lunch, which was also highly recommended. Yeah.
I thought this would be really fun to keep for my scrapbook, but it's got dog hair all over the edges of it. You
Well,
might not be able to see that. So
What of
never
ours
mind.
doesn't? Lovely. So, we're headed back to
Back to camp.
Back to the camp. Let's say that. Chesapeake Bay. I think it's still raining there.
Chesapeake Bay. Oh, that's the name of our campground. It wasn't raining when we left. If it's raining, all the towels that I hung outside yesterday to dry are, well, still not dry.
I
They weren't
assure
dry
you they're still
anyways.
not dry. So,
They
but it was
still
fun.
dry here.
if
It was
you're in
fun.
the area,
I really liked it. And
it's
then we
worth it.
just drove this 5-mile loop around the island. So cool.
it was pretty
It's
cool.
very, very, very cool.
I'm not saying I want to, live like they did, but it was cool to see how they did live. And it just blows my mind of, what you hear about how the country started, and then you come and see this of how it really started, like 100 years before it started, with these guys and everything they did. What is that? There's a book, things that your history teacher didn't teach you, or teacher taught you wrong, or something, and just blows my mind about the start of America was here, actually, not necessarily Plymouth Rock and
Right.
Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, although that was wonderful. Thanks to them. But it was
And it's
here.
also crazy to just see the way people lived, the primitive means in which they lived and survived, and it's just, boy, are we spoiled. Are we spoiled or what? And there was a man in the Arcadarium,
Where they keep the artifacts that they
yes,
dug?
there's
Yeah.
a place, and anyway, so they're one of the, probably a docent or whatever in there. He was chatting with us. Boy, was he chatting with us. We had to escape. But there was a piece of slate that had pictures drawn on it, and so they, somebody had like, what's the word where you figure out, decoded it, basically, to,
Yes.
it meant this because of this picture, and we know that they were here because of this bird or whatever. But he says, now you guys are too young to know what slate is, and I'm like, thank you. And he said, but when I was in 3rd grade, we had slate boards that we wrote on. And he said, of course, then later on, the teachers got the big blackboard, and then of course, then it became the whiteboard. And I said, you had slate boards like Little House on the Prairie? And he says, yeah. And he goes, and I'm 78. And I'm thinking, 78 years old and in the 3rd grade? That just doesn't seem possible.
It doesn't.
He must have lived in, down in the holler in Virginia.
Right, Virginia. Probably Virginia, West Virginia, maybe.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
But I'm just thinking, he's only 18 years older than me. Don't do the math. It's fine. I'm 60. I just can't believe that he would, anyways, it's crazy. I could see my mom,
Right.
having had something like that, but anyways.
Oh well, speaking of tough living, we're going to go back to the Airstream.